Facebook.com/The Marc Cox Show.
We say, and I say on behalf of no justice, no profit, and I say that again, no justice, no profit.
Just a little sample from the protest, the press conference that was held yesterday, apparently downtown. Chris Arps was in attendance and recorded some of that sound for us. Some of these folks were like from the Clergy Coalition. I mean, it was a pretty wide group representing a lot of different African-American groups, correct?
It was. It was elected officials. It was community organizers. It was the Clergy Coalition. All of them were coming down to the Mel Carnahan Courthouse to talk about the case with Governor Greitens. Their main concern was they felt that she was being attacked, and the main part of the press conference was just let the justice system
You're talking
play
about
out.
Kim. They felt Kim Gardner was being.
Yes.
Well, she ought to be attacked.
Yeah.
This thing reeks of political partisanship. You know, and you made the point to me earlier. We got to look at this. If the shoe was on the other foot, and it was Jay Nixon who was still in office, the Republicans would do the same thing. I'm not convinced that's true, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
This is a case that happened before this man got elected. If you're somebody who voted for him because he's a good family man and he ran on family principles, your butt's probably a little chapped right now. But I understand that. But the bottom line is it happened before he was elected. There's no victim in this case. The St. Louis police never even – everybody knew about this before the election. A lot of people knew about it. The police saw no reason to go in and – look into this case, right? They didn't even investigate it. And yet Kim Gardner, who's a very extremely partisan individual who's got the backing of Lacey Clay and George Soros and all these people determined to change the criminal justice system, is in office for less than a year now, right? Roughly a year. And suddenly, while she's got a backlog of murder cases sitting there that need her attention, she's wasting valuable resources digging into a 3-year-old he said, she said case where there's no victim.
But that's the activist viewpoint.
And she's rushing to do that just before the statute of limitations would be up on the case in March.
But that's the activist viewpoint, and I can certainly see that. But as a strictly political aspect of it, if you've got a politician, especially the leader of the state government, that is wounded, and you've got a chance to take him out, regardless if it happened while he was governor, before he was governor, and you've got something salacious like this, you're going to use it, regardless of what party you are. I think the bigger picture of what we have to look at with this protest or demonstration yesterday is just how it devolved from a criticism of not criticizing Kim Gardner to talking about Black Lives Matter type of things with the justice system. I think with this type of rhetoric, I think you seriously have to look at, can the governor get a fair trial in the city of St. Louis, which is overly Democratic. You've got these folks giving this press conference, maybe tainting the jury pool.
Sure.
So
sure.
I can see where they were trying to help her, but in the long run, this may have been detrimental.
First thing I'm doing as his attorney, Ed Dowd, is asking for a change of venue.
Yeah.
He would have to. Here's one more. They actually referred to Greitens as racist. Hold on. Listen.
We're not here to deal with the guilt and innocence of Greitens. We already know who he is. We already know who he is.
Right.
You don't have to prove that he is a racist in a court of law. We already know that.
Come on.
You don't have to prove that he doesn't care anything about black people or poor people in a court of law. We already know that.
So I don't know which of the guests, the speakers that was. It didn't sound like Zaki Baruti to me. But
second to the end.
Oh, was it? Okay, so that was Reverend Gray, okay, who's a civil rights activist up there speaking. Why do they think Eric Greitens is a racist?
Well,
because he took the side of police officers during the Stockley protests?
Well, I think it's part of the Democratic playbook that if you are white and you are a Republican, then it's easy to paint someone as a racist. I think the curious thing about all this is Governor Greitens is actually Jewish. That's when been brought to my attention. So how, it's kind of hard to see a Jewish person as a racist in a lot of people's minds.
Huh. I hadn't heard of all the allegations I've heard of people who didn't like Greitens. That was not one that had come down the pike yet. There was a lot of anger out there, from what I could pick up, is that. And this gets back to the Kim Gardner situation. The anger still stemming from the Jason Stockley case, when they were calling for Greitens to be subject to the same justice system that they are. Listen.
And so we believe that the governor is subject to the same justice system that all of the citizens are subject to. The same justice system that failed Mike Brown, the same justice system that failed Anthony Lamar Scott. And so
It's Anthony Lamar Smith, wasn't it?
I think it was.
Yeah, instead of Scott.
Yeah.
I guess I'm reaching for the point there. He's got to be subject to the same. I mean, one was murdered by a police officer. The other was a heroin dealer running from police at the time he was murdered. What's that got to do with the governor being accused of taking a photo of someone who hasn't complained about it 3 years ago in a private consensual relationship?
And I think this is also to revive the Black Lives Matter movement. There was a clip that I sent you where one of the activists said that spring is coming and that these activists aren't finished with their
they're
protest.
ramping it up again.
They're going to ramp it back up. So.
Well, Chris, thank you for going down there. That was exclusive Marc Cox
Marc
show
Cox
content.
Exclusive.
Nobody else heard that today.
We need some music for that. Ding, 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 ding. Some type of news music.
that was the best soundbite of the day when John called in with the automatic gunfire sound. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Chris. As always, at Carps on Twitter, if you want to follow him, at CARPS on Twitter, at Marc Cox 971 on Twitter as well. Lots